Good morning from Tokyo. I'm still extremely jet lagged, so got up around 4 a.m. It's about 4:30 now, and Shibuya is still hopping. I don't think any of these people went to bed yet. Anyway, try to find something to eat, wanted some ramen, and remember that Ichiran is open 24 hours a day. Let's go get some of this stuff. Actually, this particular location I'm at only open till 6 a.m. There's a lot of great ramen in Japan, but if you want a place for a solid bowl of ramen, that's pretty much always open right here. Whole clove of garlic in here. I got 8 times spice instead of 10 just because, 4 o'clock in the morning, got a full food day ahead. Don't want to overexert myself. One thing that is different that I never got this before, is the Ichiran vinegar. I'm thinking the vinegar is going to be really good with the tonkatsu. But before all that, oh yeah, oh that's so good. I always ask for a rich broth. It's just so jam-packed with that delicious porky flavor. Add a little bit of the vinegar. I don't know if I'm supposed to add all of it. And mix it all up. Open up the gooey egg. That is an absolute perfect egg. Ooh. As soon as you mix in the signature Ichiran chilies, this thing just elevates by like 10 levels. I feel like I do want to add all the vinegar because it's still very rich, so I can afford to add more acid. Wow. I think the vinegar made it better. To offset the cost of the vinegar, I didn't get any mushrooms or seaweed. I think that's not a bad trade-off. The vinegar, I think it's fermented vinegar. It adds not only a bit of acid, but also some additional umami flavor to my broth. Absolutely perfect every single time. It's like the Pavlovian effect. Every time I sit down and I see this magic ramen curtain in front of me, I just start salivating. Chashu, as always, fatty and melts in your mouth. And the egg is just so creamy. That's as delicious and as satisfying as ever. And today I'm continuing the traditional Tokyo food tour. So I'm gonna try my hands at making some sushi. Then I found this awesome pizzeria that serves, I think, sashimi tuna pizza. And before getting to that, I just wanna give a big thank you and shout out to the sponsor of this video, Surfshark VPN. As you guys know, Surfshark VPN is something I've been talking about and using for several years now. And I always say this, if you're not utilizing a VPN service right now, I highly recommend that you do. And this is one of the only apps I always keep running constantly 24/7 on my phone, my laptop, anywhere I connect to the internet, because of course right now we all have a ton of personal information online, and there's a lot of people trying to gain access to it. You got data aggregators who's trying to get a hold of your personal information to sell to marketing companies, where you got people trying to gain access to your personal information like your email. So a VPN, which is a virtual private network, what it does is that it encrypts and secures your personal information before it goes over the internet. So people who you really don't want having access to your private information, they're not gonna have access to it. Also, if someone is trying to gain access to something like your email, Surfshark VPN has something called Surfshark Alerts where you will be notified right away. I mean, this is especially true when we're out and about at cafes, restaurants, airports, and we're connecting to the local Wi-Fi that's provided. These are not secure at all. They tell you they're not secure at all, and these are great opportunities for people to gain access to your personal information. That's why, like I said, I keep Surfshark VPN running 24/7. Gives me peace of mind. Also, it's really useful when you're traveling out of another country and you don't want to miss your favorite TV shows or movies, you can use Surfshark VPN to change your location back to the US, getting you access to all your US streaming services. And I mentioned this before, a lot of times when you're overseas, major websites don't even function correctly or don't even function at all when you're trying to access them. So to even pay my bills right now, this week that I'm in Japan, I use Surfshark VPN for that. It just runs in the background, it's super fast, I don't notice it at all. And all my apps, the websites, functions like I'm still in the US. So if you want to give it a try, go to my link down below, use my promo code MikeyChan, and you'll get an extra 3 months for free. Let's go find some dessert. I feel like I've entered Tokyo Drift, sponsored by those hamsters. All right, time for dessert. This looks good. So this place is open from 11 a.m. to 7 a.m. So it's only closed 4 hours a day. And when you are in another country and you can't read the menus, Google Translate will absolutely save you. Like it did me today, because I looked at a couple cuts of steak that looked very fatty and delicious. I was gonna go order it. Then I translated it. One said it was raw lamb, so it would have just came to me bloody. And the other cut I wanted was kangaroo steak. So I got a mixed platter of half filet and half skirt steak. So 400 grams, about 14, so close to a pound with 2 sides, $17. Not bad. Wow, this steak comes out sizzling hot. Pretty rare, so I'm just trying to cook it on this plate a little bit more. It is a sizzling hot plate. They told me to use these sauces. One of them is their original sauce. I'm just looking around to see how other people do it. This is their garlic sauce. A lot of people seem to have gotten rice. Maybe I should have done that. Wow. That is a really tender, juicy cut of steak. Sorry, my mic is going in and out. Look at that juicy steak. And it's actually cooked perfectly because they brought out at the perfect doneness so that the plate continues to cook the steak, and that's a perfect medium rare. Haven't tried their sauce yet. The garlic sauce is very garlicky, but also a little too sweet for me. And this next piece is the skirt steak. Beautifully juicy, perfect doneness. Wow. The skirt steak is really tough and tendony. It is very juicy. It's like steak perfection and then pure leather. This place is really interesting. The theme is definitely a log cabin in the country. There's country music playing. This is a fun place. People are really nice. I think the price is very reasonable and the hours are great if you're looking for a place that's still open late at night or super early in the morning. Just remember, order the filet or maybe the kangaroo. Maybe that's great. Good morning from Tokyo. Today I'm gonna learn how to make sushi, and this is where it's happening.
So place the ingredients on your, in between palm and the third joint. To make rice up 8 grams, this big, and then put the rice on the fish. Make a hole in the middle, and then flip it over. Push the sides with your thumb. Then turn around. Again, turn around. Turn around 3 回ぐらいですかね。About 3 times turn around. ここで決めます。And then made it.
Wet your hands. About 8 grams of rice, which from the looks of it, okay, my hand's not wet enough. See it? It's stuck. So make sure you wet your hands. It looks like the size about half of your thumb. Fish on the left hand, rice goes on.
Oh, very good, very good.
Put a little hole in the rice. Flip it over. So Squeeze the rice once.
To make it thin.
Flip it over. Squeeze the rice.
You use only leftover.
Alright, I'm already messing this up. Me and my dry hands. I think the saving grace is the fish is covering up my mistakes. Oh, a little better. A little better. There we go. Make it nice and compact. I mean, I've always respected what it took to be a sushi chef, now even more so. There we go. Here we go. Tuna time. I think this looks pretty good. Now I'm going to try mine compared to Sensei Sushi. This is mine. That's a lot of rice, Sensei's. Perfect ratio. Next is the tuna. This is the one I made. That rice was perfect, only because a chunk of it fell on the table before it got to my mouth, so it wasn't really structurally sound sushi. This is Sensei's. Salmon, mine. Good, but still too much rice. Sensei Sushi is way fluffier, more airy. I definitely learned a lot about sushi from this course. Number one thing I learned, I suck at it. And also, apparently my hands are really dry. It's a female flounder that's really in season right now. Buttery and bouncy. I think that's the best piece I had so far today. Moon shell. It's the sweetest, snappiest, most buttery piece. The yuzu flavor is so pronounced. That's the first time in my life I've had that. I think it's better than scallops. Bean roll, one of my favorite things.
Nori is good.
Wow.
From
Nori is so crispy with that fatty chopped up tuna. This is utter perfection.
Congratulations.
So this pizza place has tons of really interesting pizzas. One of the most unique is bluefin sashimi pizza, and it's a Neapolitan style pizza. So pizzas are coming out really quick. It's got that signature crust with a little bit of char on the bottom. The crust looks very airy. It's got that little dip in the middle. Margarita, cheese is delicious, beautiful basil flavor. That's a really solid Neapolitan pizza. This is really interesting. Bluefin tuna seared or cooked very quickly in the pizza oven. Scallions on top, corn puree underneath the cheese. They give you some wasabi to add to this as well. Whoa. This is amazing. Melt in your mouth tuna, a nice garlicky kick from the scallions, and it's fresh wasabi, adding even more flavor and depth, and balances out the richness of this pizza. The corn puree is genius. Little sweet, very creamy, very rich. This is delicious. This is 100% worth a try. This one is really interesting. Little anchovies, cherry tomatoes, sancho peppers, and a bit of greens. Wow. This is a very interesting flavor. A little bitterness from the crust and also, I think, from the sardines as well. Every bite you get tons of little fish. There's bitterness coming from the pizza crust, and also I think something on the toppings. It's very juicy. The texture is great. It's definitely an interesting blend of flavors. And I think what's a must try if you come here, definitely get the bluefin tuna. This is the Diavolo pizza. This is salami, little chili peppers on there. That's a really good pizza. I like a meaty pizza. I think it's got salami. It's got the salami oil all mixed in with the sweet tomatoes. And it's a different pizza though. It's made with sake leaves. I can't personally taste the difference between this and a regular dough, but that is a delicious pie. Final meal of the night, and I've been so looking forward to this. Tempura. I love a tempura meal. It's one of my favorite things to eat in Japan. This meal is gonna start with oysters and miso. Giant plum oyster with a little, I think, yuzu zest on top. I mean, that is a ginormous, plump, juicy oyster with that umami-filled miso. I got some oolong tea because it cuts through oil and grease very easily. And what's special about what chef is doing is that he's one of the only tempura chefs in Japan that does not use egg wash in his tempura, which that's unheard of. And the oil that chef uses is cottonseed oil mixed with sesame oil. Second dish has arrived. It's a sashimi of swordfish and flounder. And this here is the flounder. Little wasabi. So clean and fresh. Sashimi swordfish. Swordfish meat is a little dense, but surprisingly sweet, like really sweet. Tempura meal has begun and it starts with pure flavor. The shrimp head, just add a little bit of salt. This is my favorite bite of tempura. All that flavor concentrate is in the head of the prawn. A little bit of salt is all you need to enjoy that ultra flavorful bite. That is one of the crunchiest, airiest bite of tempura you could ever have. Again, chef doesn't use any egg wash because he thinks the egg wash covers up the flavor of the ingredients a bit. So here you are tasting that delicious ingredient in its purest form. The legs are so crunchy, like little shrimp crackers, and inside just pure umami. Next up, tempura prawn. Why don't you just dip in salt? Oh. It's crunchy, airy. And when you bite into the meat of the prawn, it's piping hot, by the way. Pure, ultra sweetness. The other prawn goes into radish and tempura dipping sauce. There's really no wrong way to eat that. Honestly, I could eat that tempura without anything, without any salt. Next up, a section of bamboo shoots. And you eat it two different ways. For the body of it, dip it into the radish sauce. Oh. It's so crazy good and hot. Bamboo has such a clean, naturally sweet flavor. Nice and refreshing and crispy. In the end, just dip it in some salt. Like little bamboo chips, just amazingly light and airy. Everything is so good here. Next dish, shirado, which is little white fish wrapped inside a shiso leaf. I think wow would be an understatement. The fish is just the flakiest, sweetest, mildest tasting fish. And it's just pure tenderness. And it just gets more and more crunchy as you reach the tail of the fish. This is udon. This is a unique vegetable that's really only found in Japan and China. Some people call it mountain asparagus. It does have that texture, but it's way more fragrant, like a herby quality to it. And again, there's no egg wash to kind of dilute that at all, so you're just getting pure flavor from that vegetable. This is Japanese small whitefish. You break it in half, and half you dunk it into your sauce with the radish. Well, that is a light, delicate fish. A little hint of sweetness. The other half with salt. Wow. I love pieces with just a little bit of salt. Beautiful asparagus. Again, just a little bit of salt. With the asparagus, you can see how light the batter is. So it's just a paper thin layer of subtle crunch. And even though the crunch is subtle, it's also significant because it's very different than the crunch from the asparagus itself. I feel like tempura, you're tasting ingredients that maybe you've had before, but after this transformation, like you're tasting it again for the first time, but with more flavor. Next, jumbo Hokkaido scallops. And the salt we've been eating is from Miyazaki. To eat this, dip it in some lemon juice and then some salt. This thing almost tastes unnaturally sweet. And as you can tell, the middle is a little more rare, and that's on purpose by the chef. He feels that the middle is where the sweetness of the scallops really resonate from. And that is so true, almost an unnaturally sweet scallop. Next is a cold dish, crab with yuba, which is tofu skin, and some dashi jello on top. And it's nice to have something really cold touch your tongue. Next is Japanese mountain vegetable, a little bit of salt. Wow. It's incredibly floral. Slightly bitter, like a more intense broccoli raw, but again, way more floral. This is an exquisite piece of tempura. Sea urchin uni wrapped in seaweed from Edo Bay, which is right here in Tokyo. It's so sweet and creamy inside, but nori is so flavorful as well. This is an incredibly intricate, delicious dish. Next, tempura onions. Ooh. Ooh. This is some next level sweet onions. Literally, it's really sweet. Just like the scallops, the chef left the middle raw, so the onion retains that additional sweetness. The middle almost tastes like a fruit. This fish is called the big eye flathead fish. Definitely more of a fishy flavor. The meat more firm than the last fish. But very mild flavors. I think this is the last piece, shiitake mushrooms. Oh. There's one more piece after this. This is delicious. Intensely earthy flavors. So the final course, there's a selection to be made, and it's a rough one. You can either get one dish, it's tempura shrimp and vegetables with cautery sauce, or you can have the same tempura, vegetables, and shrimp, but with hojicha tea drizzled over it. So one flavor is gonna be more intense, maybe a little sweet, more umami-esque. The other is gonna be lighter, and of course, soupier. Cool. First of all, this tempura is amazing. Shrimp is sweet. The cautery sauce, not overly sweet. Tons of flavor, tons of umami. Chase it with a little cold dish of vegetables. To balance out the richness, I think this is more my style. This is the other version. Tempura, shrimp, vegetables, and hojicha. Pour it around the sides. And then the tempura is gonna go into the hojicha and it's gonna break apart, as you can see. So you're kind of turning this into a tempura porridge almost. Very light, but this version you taste more of the natural flavor of the ingredients, like the shrimp and the veg. Flavors are more subtle, but the natural flavor of the ingredients are more pronounced. And the tea gives off a slightly fermented, bitter flavor. I like it. And miso soup with clams. Ooh, that's a lot of flavor in this miso soup. I think tonight has just been an incredible experience. Again, I love a tempura omakase here in Japan. It's so uniquely different every time I eat it because the chefs all have a different way they make the tempura. I've never had a tempura without egg wash, but again, you can taste more of the natural flavors of the ingredients and lighter too. I feel like after a whole tempura meal, which I think there's been at least a dozen courses, I feel like I can keep eating. It's been another incredibly fun day of food here in Tokyo. Being able to make sushi, that really puts into perspective how hard sushi chefs work to obtain the skills they have. I mean, typically a sushi chef in Japan at least will have to practice and train an apprentice for at least 10 years to be able to open their own place. So it's really awesome to learn more about that whole process. And then this meal has just been nothing short of phenomenal. And of course, all the places I went to listed down below for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Until we eat again, see you later.